Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Abby. I'm with Fitness is Medicine. Today we're going to use a few dumbbells. We're going to do a chest press, and that is really it as far as equipment is concerned. So one set of dumbbells, you can probably use the same weight for both. So maybe, moderately heavy. We're going to do a chest press and shoulder press, so you can grab dumbbells associated with what you think you might need for those weights. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do a chest press on a bench. So you can either do it lying on the floor. We did a lot of floor work in our last video. So incorporating that flat back, keeping your feet bent, or your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. I'm going to lie down on this bench that I have and do a chest press. This is kind of the classic, doing, maybe like a bench press type of exercise. So if you don't have a bench, you can use a coffee table, you can use your bed, you can use the floor. I actually like to put my feet up a little bit to keep my back flat and keep my back protected. But so when you're lying down like this, with your feet lower, it's easy to have your back kind of arched. So I do kind of like to put my feet up like this, or even higher, depending on what type of bench you have. If you want to scoot back and put your feet on the bench, it doesn't really matter. There's two different ways you can hold your hands here, where either your elbows are in close or your elbows are out to the side. So it doesn't really matter. Whatever feels best on your shoulders and your elbows. I want you to bring it down, press it straight overhead. 4, 5. The other thing is you could do one set one way and one set the other way and decide which feels a little better. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, good. So then you can sit up and put those weights right back down on the bench, keeping your back nice and protected. I'm actually going to press my bench out of the way for my next exercises. Okay, now we're going to do some side step squats. Let me change my camera angle a little bit here. So with squatting, there we go. The important thing about squatting is putting your weight in your heels, sitting back with your hips, bending those knees. Everything is bending. Your ankles are bending, your knees are bending, your hips are bending. If you're going down like this, your hips aren't really bending, and you're going to put a lot of pressure through your knees. So you really want to sit those hips back like you're going to sit down into a chair, okay? So your ankles are flexing, your knees are flexing, your hips are flexing. It's a good full body leg workout. I'm going to change this one more time here. Now I'm going to add a little bit of motion to this. So we're going to do some side step squatting. So I want you to step to the side, squat. Stand up, you can bring your feet close together, step out, squat. So just adding some motion to it, getting some lateral movement. So depending on the space that you have, walking back and forth across your room. I like to put my arms forward when I do a squat because it keeps me, keeps my chest up, kind of helps with my balance. So when I'm stepping forward, I'm still really sitting back, putting my weight in my heels, keeping my torso strong and upright. So I don't want to do a squat like this. You really want to protect that back, sit your hips back, and sit into that squat. So I would go 10 one direction and 10 the other, maybe 5 one direction and 5 the other. The other thing is with these, you can do them in as big or as little range of motion as you want. So right now I'm just doing mini squats. So I'm sitting back still, squeezing my glutes when I stand up. Same motion, just not as deep. So you can do really deep ones, you can do really shallow ones, but just adding that lateral movement as we go. Okay, great. Next we're going to do a shoulder press in tandem. So you could pick up those same weights that you just used, or maybe just a little bit lighter if you have the option. Generally, this one would require just a little bit less. So maybe if you did an 8-pound in the chest press, maybe do a 5-pound with your shoulder press, or a 10-pound chest press, 8-pound shoulder press, that type of thing. Let's see, I'm gonna raise this up a little again. So I want you to do, add a little bit of balance to this one. First of all, if you do have back pain and you know you have back problems, do this one seated, because when you press weight up over your head, it puts some pressure through your back if you do have an injury. If you don't have an injury, don't worry about it. If you don't have a back injury, let's do a little bit of a staggered stance or a tandem stance. So I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and then press these weights straight overhead. 2. I'm going to scoot back just a little. 3. Now, this one too, just similar to the chest press, I can do it with my elbows out or my elbows in. Sometimes putting your elbows towards the center can be a little bit easier. Sometimes people have shoulder pain with this or a little bit of elbow pain. 8, 9, and 10. The other thing is, I mentioned the back pain. If you do have back pain sometimes and you want to try this standing, it's okay. Really focus on, maybe don't do the balance part of it. Keep your feet about shoulder width apart. Really focus on keeping your abs strong, and then go ahead. And then also I would start with maybe a little bit less weight. Okay, great. Remember to set those down with good form, bending your knees and hips and setting them out of the way for the rest of your exercises. Now, okay, now we're gonna lower to the floor and we're gonna do a side plank. So I'm gonna lower my camera angle down here. Remember, you can always do this up against a kitchen countertop or a bench, you know, like the bench that I have over here. It's a good way to do that. You can do an elevated one, or you can do one on the floor, and I'm going to show you some variations on how to do it on the floor. I think we're going to start on our hands today. If it's too much on your wrists, go ahead and do it on your elbow. Either way, you want your hand or your elbow directly beneath your shoulder. So I'm going to start on my hands. I'm going to start with my feet stacked, so this is kind of level 1, we'll call your feet staggered, level 2, and then we'll call this level 3. So it's easy. Okay, I think that just paused for a reason. It's easy to start on level 1 and then progress to level 3, or not progress, but kind of level down, because I want you to try to challenge yourself with this. So if you know that stacking your feet is way too hard, start with them staggered. That's a little bit easier. You have a little wider base of support there, using all of your feet instead of just up here on your feet. So we're going to work for 30 seconds. Now, my hand is directly beneath my shoulder. I want my hips and my shoulders stacked. I'm going to look at my watch as far as time. Now, if you're starting to feel unsteady, pick up that top foot, and then we'll have a little larger base of support there. If that's too much, drop your bottom knee. But everything still remains the same. So I'm keeping my shoulders stacked, my hips stacked. The other thing is, if you're here and you want to try going back, you could just lift up that knee or go back down. All right, and that's 30. Okay, so let's try the other side. I'm going to lift up my camera just a little. Okay. This time I'm just going to show you on your elbow. So we can do them either one. If you know that you have wrist pain, try it on your elbow. The other thing is, you can try it with like a dumbbell, so then your wrist is straight versus really bent like that, or with a rolled up towel is a really good way. You can put a rolled up towel like right at the base of your palm here, and that gives your hands a little bit of extra support. Okay, I'll show you on my elbow for this one. So up on with your feet stacked. Keep breathing. You want your hips stacked, your shoulders stacked, your head in line. So I don't want you rolling over like this. This is kind of a common thing that I see. Everything is stacked. If it's getting to be too much, put that top foot in front. Keep breathing. And then if this is getting to be too much, you can lower that bottom leg. Keep working. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. So work on maybe the next level if you are wanting to challenge yourself a little bit. But like I said, if you're doing them on the bench, you can, same thing, you want your hand directly beneath your shoulder. So you can do it on a bench, you can do it at the kitchen counter. There's a lot of different ways to level that one, but still work the same muscle group. Okay, now we're gonna do some balance. We're gonna do some tightrope walking. So back up on your feet. And you can follow a line, like if you have hardwood floors, or if you have tile, or, you know, you can follow a straight line either way. But I want you to work on pretending you have a tightrope. In my gym, we use kind of a crease in the flooring. And I want you to put one foot right in front of the other so that you're walking like on a balance beam. Nice and slowly. The more slowly you go, the more difficult it is. So putting one foot in front of the other and slowly walking across the room. Now, if this feels easy to you, grab like a ball or a pillow or something and hold that out in front of you. And make sure you're walking kind of as a focus out in front versus staring down at the floor. It's easy to kind of walk like this, but I want good posture, pulling those shoulders back, looking off at your line further in the distance. Carrying, now we can add a little extra just by holding a ball. If that feels easy, take that ball, turn it towards the side where you just took a step. My eyes are still facing forward. So I'm leveling up here as we go. Like I said, the more slowly you go, the harder it is. So if you're gonna go like this, it's not going to be as challenging and you're not getting the good out of it for your balance. If turning and not turning your gaze feels pretty easy, if you want to try a little harder, we're going to take that ball and we're going to turn our bodies, we're going to turn our heads, we're going to change our focus to just either watching the ball or at least changing to the other side of the room. Watching the ball would be the hardest because it's a really close focus. But turning towards that front step that you just took a step with, and turning and changing your gaze, changing your focus. So try leveling up with me as I go there. Find the one that is challenging to you, but not so much that you're falling every step or, you know, kind of losing your balance every step. So the other thing that I tell people too is you could start doing that along a wall. If you're really nervous about your balance, you know, then you have that wall right here to help you all the way down and back, and then you can progress from there. All right, last one we're going to do is a standing hip abduction, abduction. So you can get your ball. I want you to do this standing either at a kitchen counter or somewhere sturdy. What I want you to do is we're going to stand on one side. We did a version of this a week or so ago. We're going to just take it straight out to the side. So remember when we did that side stepping and you want to keep your toe pointed straight forward, you want to implement that here as well. So we're focusing on those glutes here, not your hip flexors or your quads. So it's really easy for your body to kind of want to turn that toe out to the side. Really focus here and even turn that toe in just a little. We're just taking that toe straight out to the side, taking your leg straight out to the side. This leg is also working, having to balance and give you that good support, stabilizing. Nice and tall here. Like I said, I'm hanging on to something. 9 and 10. Now we're going to switch sides. If you're finding it's hard for you to lift your foot against, if you're on, especially if you're on carpet, you can stand on, you could either do this like on the bottom stair of, like a stairwell, or you could stand on a balance pad, you could stand on a pillow, anywhere you can just kind of raise up your surface just a little. Even standing on like a beach towel folded up is another great way to do it. Just to kind of give this foot some clearance. So my toe is turned in just a little, nice and slowly. Also, I'm not changing where I am here, so I'm not tilting over to the side to get it way out. It's a pretty small movement. You're just taking it away from your side and then bringing it back. If you can, don't set that foot down in between. So that's requiring a lot of stabilization on this side. If you find yourself sagging into that hip a little bit, stop, reset, and then go again. And then also you can, if you find that's happening, make sure you're hanging onto something to give that hip a little bit of extra support. Okay, good. All right. Remember to warm up before you start. Do some 5 to 10 minutes of cardio in between to keep your heart rate up. Come back to another set. Do that 2 to 3 times over, and then follow with some good stretches at the end. If you ever have any questions, you can always private message me. You can leave a message in the comments. I can get back to you. And remember to stretch at the end. Keep moving, everybody. You're doing awesome. Thank you so much.